Okay, so I'm going to keep going from here. Um, we started talking about flipping the funnel and how starting back in the day, we've got a wide reach with people, and it was up to us to make sure we could get as many people as possible to our messaging. And now we rely on, reputation and word of mouth. We want to make sure that, whatever business dealings we have, we can do in a reputable manner, so that there's people out there that actually do reputation management now. Who, like I have a doctor who's a customer, and there's lots of websites like WebMD and Doc Finder and things like that, where she had a lot of different reviews and different things about her out there, and not everything said the same thing. So it's really important to make sure that everything across the internet looks like you and sounds like you, and you're presenting one message. And what we just talked about, the big advantage of the way the marketing funnel works today is that it's up to us to put a face on our businesses. So it's really important to make sure that, even though we have a website and we have, employees and we have all these different things that represent our business, it's really important to make personal connections with people. So, it's really important, even though you maybe only have a website, that you put a face to your business and let people know who you are and what you're about, and let people connect with you in a personal way. And that's one advantage that big businesses don't have, is that they really can't put that personal connection on their staff. So engagement is the new word of mouth. Excuse me. Okay. So engagement is basically anytime we connect with somebody and we have a conversation with them. It's really important to talk to people and not at people. It's really important to get them to engage with you, and you have a much better way of connecting with people if they feel like they have a real relationship with you. So with all of those different media outlets like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, how do you decide which one is the right thing for you? How do you decide? It's a little overwhelming. You can see our little cat friend here. My friend Pam Russell, who's on the call, will love the cat because she's a cat person. But basically, you just have to make sure that your people are wherever your people are. So, and you're going to get surprised by this, but the #1 cell phone app is email. It's not Facebook, it's not Twitter, it's not Instagram. When you're a business, cell phone and mobile ability, I see that, Pam. Your ability to be mobile is extremely important. So whatever messaging you put out there to your audience, you need to be able to reach them. And another surprising fact is that ROI, which stands for return on investment, is $41 for every dollar spent on email marketing. So that's a pretty impressive number. We have a really hard time with, when we do things on social media to know whether or not they're working or not. But there's a lot of studies done on email marketing and, how powerful it still is. And then, we can find somebody and connect with them pretty quickly. If I'm on Twitter and I'm looking at somebody's Twitter stream and, they make me laugh, or, they get something that I get, or there's things about them that I can relate to really quickly. I can all of a sudden feel like they're my friends. So um, we're going to get more statistics here. 46% of shoppers rely on social media when making a purchase. Well, that's just the word of mouth thing. Excuse me. 88% find online reviews as trustworthy as personal recommendations. So I don't know how many of you use apps like Yelp, but it's really important to me when I go to a restaurant that I check it out first, because I want to make sure that, my restaurant's got some good stars or some good ratings, and then be able to check price. So this is an example of this Half Moon Yoga Studio. This is an example of one client who was doing some social media marketing and, not getting some great results. So they worked with some constant contact. I'll go back to that slide. They worked with some constant contact people, and they got to where, they wanted to create a goal for themselves, and their goal obviously was to generate revenue. So for them, that meant that they wanted to get people to their yoga studio and take yoga classes. So when they were consulted with, they were putting most of their effort into sending lengthy monthly emails and posting to every social media site they could think of, and posting open house events. And they were spread so thin that they weren't getting in front of the right people. So when we really sat down to think about what their goal was, they were encouraged to send short bi-weekly blasts about their class schedule and to focus their social strategy on primarily to Facebook. And then that's where we decided most of their clients were. So within months, they had doubled their class attendance. So social media really is powerful if you do it the right way. And that's the example for you with this particular merchant, the Half Moon Yoga Studio. And if you're paying a high dollar lease, like I'm sure these people did, you really have to make sure you're spending your money on the right stuff with your marketing dollars. So we're going to try to figure out a way to set some meaningful goals. So what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to, increase sales? Are you trying to, drive people to your website? You want to increase engagement with people. You want to increase your reach, which means, how many people you actually get your messaging to. And you also want to nurture people. Not everybody's in the same place when they buy something. Some people are just at the beginning of looking for something, like maybe they're looking for a new doctor, or they're looking for a new car. So they might not be ready to buy today, or they might not be ready to connect with a new doctor today. They're in the search process. So that's in the very beginning, when the seedling is little. But, as you engage with them and nurture them with, putting posts up that build trust between you and get to know each other, that's really how you want to approach the sales cycle. You have to know who you're trying to reach and what your target is, and you want to actually set some real numbers. You have to be realistic, like, what are my goals? I know I have this many bills this month, and in order to pay my bills, I have to make this much money. So that should be your bottom line, right? How much is your overhead? If you don't have any overhead, that's great, but you still need to set realistic numbers. Are you going to make $1 million your first year. If you do, then I'm going to quit my job and come to work for you. But really and truly, you have to be realistic about, you know, what you're going to be able to do financially. And without, if you're a new business, you know, you don't have anything to look back on. You don't have last year's numbers to look back on. So you really have to create ways to accomplish that for yourself. And so, you know, we want to look at who we are trying to attract. You know, are we looking for new clients, or are we looking to entice, you know, clients that we already have to come back and purchase again? You know, we want to know how many clients we want. You know, we want 10 new, in this example with the yoga studio, they were talking about having an average of 10 attendees per class. Well, you know, they know that they need that many people to pay their bills. So they knew they had a 10 attendee bottom line. And then, you know, how long is it going to take me to get that many people into the studio? So they set the goal of over the next 3 months. That is very realistic. You are not going to find any results that you can measure in less than 3 months with marketing efforts. It's really an ongoing thing. So after you set goals, you want to definitely start practicing and putting out messages on your social media platforms. So the most important thing is going to be to pick the platform that works for you. And so how do you do that? If you remember back to the beginning of the session, we talked about ways your audience engages with you online through email and social media. So how are you supposed to decipher which platform is right for your goal when there are so many to choose from? So let me help you with the pros and cons. What do you think the percentage of email that gets delivered to the inbox? I mean, do you think 10% of people, I mean, you send out 100 emails, do you think 10 people get them, 20 people get them, 30 people get them? The answer is 90% of the people you send an email to are going to get the email. That's huge. And then how about social media? What's the largest social media site to date? The largest social media site is Facebook. But with Facebook, only 2% of your Facebook fans are going to see your messaging in their news feed. So the best way to create a marriage made in heaven with your marketing is to do both. You're going to do email and social media so that you're going to get more engagement by using both of those things, both of those marketing things. So you're going to get 73% more customer engagement. You're going to get 57% more new customers. And you're going to get 39% more business referrals. So just using the power of social media and then nurturing it along the way, nurturing your relationships with the email is the key. There's also something really important about when you email somebody is having your emails be shareable. So what if you could share your emails on social media like Facebook? What benefits can you see to sharing an email on social media? So Constant Contact, the email marketing program that we work with, has ways to share email with social media. So we basically have a way to give you ways to schedule your email into your social media feed. So that's really important. And not only can you combine forces outside of your message, Constant Contact has tools to promote social media inside your message. So you have, say this is a message that goes out for your business. Inside of every email, you'll see that we have the opportunity to add social buttons like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. So that just makes your message shareable. So it's not getting just found by people you're connected with, but it's being shared by the people that you're connected with and their friends. And so we want to be where our customers are, and that means when you place clickable links to your social media pages inside your emails, you'll not only drive traffic to your pages, but you'll also get valuable tracking data that tells you what social sites your subscribers are using most. So with the analytics that are inside of the Constant Contact email marketing, you can find out, how many people went to Instagram and YouTube and Pinterest, and then you can know that's where your audience is. So I get asked a lot, so I'm sending out an email, when should I send it? And how often should I send my email? For social media, we recommend a baseline of 3 to 5 times a week, just to make sure that your messaging is getting out there frequently enough. And then there are tools and guidelines for what times that have the highest traffic. So the most response that you can get, it depends on your industry, your audience, and what you're trying to get them to do. So there's lots of analytics and things like that inside of the Constant Contact email marketing platform that helps you know. They actually give you suggested times to send emails so that you're making the most of the visibility for your email. So for frequency, monthly email marketing or monthly emails are the most common, but it's good to add an unexpected message every once in a while. So if you are a person that owns an online store, like my friend Pam Russell, who owns a holistic cat online cat store for nutritional items and toys and all things cats. She would want to send out an email more than probably once a month because things change. You want to offer people savings, coupons, and things that they may not be expecting. So we want to, definitely give something to them to prompt them to buy once in a while. And so once you've chosen your platforms, you're ready to start thinking about and writing your messages. But I will warn you, you won't see the greatest success by simply picking your platform and blasting your goals. In this new digital marketing arena, audiences respond to brands they recognize and trust. So how do I do that, you say? Let me tell you. In order to reach your goal in the long term, it's not enough to choose the platform and immediately start promoting your agenda. People do not enjoy being sold to. Hello, I don't enjoy it, do you? The first thing I do when I meet somebody is I want to get to know them. So what your audience wants is to receive some content that not only speaks to their interests, but enables them to overcome a challenge or achieve a goal or learn something they may not have already known. So 61% of consumers are more likely to buy from companies that offer valuable custom content. And clearly there is an impactful connection between offering something your audience cares about and their likelihood to buy from you. So it's your job to find the right balance of offering enough valuable content and also promoting your end goal. So typically, we want to encourage people to follow the 80-20 rule. If you're going to be marketing to an audience, you want to have a kind of a guideline about how to balance the amount of relevant content that you share compared to the amount of promotion you offer. So in order to encourage your audience to engage with your goals, you kind of need to prove your trustworthiness and your credibility and your value. 80% of your messages should be valuable content, whereas 20% is reserved for your true promotion. For example, I work with a small accounting firm, and of course, they are always looking to get more clients during tax season. Hello, we don't want to even think of the word taxes right now. It's getting ready to be the holidays. But ultimately, their promotion is, let us do your taxes, with the ultimate goal of getting more clients and increasing revenue. However, they can position themselves as experts and unveil some of their audience's pain points by sharing content like the most common mistakes you make on your tax returns. And then they reveal some of that nitty-gritty aspect of taxes. So how likely do you think the audience would be to make an appointment once they've shared this valuable content versus going straight to promotion? So let me give you an example of how this guideline, the 80-20 rule, impacts your long-term goals. So I recently worked with a real estate agent who can't figure out how to maintain relationships with recent home buyers. So after the close date, he obviously didn't work as closely with his clients, but he knew they would be essential for word of mouth to his new clients. So think about it from his client's perspective. They've just bought the home of their dreams, and a month later, they receive a newsletter about the newest homes on the market. That sounds kind of counterintuitive. That doesn't make the client feel very valued, right? So clearly, he needed to maintain the relationship in a different way. And so he keeps a list of his recent home buyers and then began sending them a variety of emails about how to maintain their gutters and ideas for home decor and the best plumber in the area, that kind of stuff. And his call to action was always, share my message with your friends and family. And because he balanced his content, he was able to reach his goal more effectively. So one effective way to do this as well is by turning your interactions with customers or clients or members or supporters and volunteers into content for your email. Think for a second about the last interaction that you had with someone at your organization. What questions did a customer or client have? What information are people requesting about your nonprofit? Can you turn an answer of their questions into an email? So here are some great examples. So we want to make sure that we entice them as well with a great subject line. So it's really important once you realize that that's the first thing that your people are going to see, the subject line, is that you only have a couple of seconds to capture their attention and prove that your content is worth reading. So there's really a lot of tips you can use to write a subject line, and here are just a few. So we want to keep it short, about 5 to 8 words to entice them to open the message. And this is especially important for the majority of your audience trying to read through their inbox on a mobile device. You could also include numbers in your subject line because it makes them, what you're saying, quantifiable and lets readers know exactly what they can expect. So one example is like top 3 benefits to volunteer this summer. And then the third one is to encourage action. So by including a call to action to get them to open the message immediately. And one example for this is like schedule your consultation today. You can even include a deadline to create a sense of urgency. One example of this is using summer sale ends Friday, something like that. So once you've written your subject line, this will double up as the headline when your email posts to social media. And that's the great thing about Constant Contact, because they recognize your subject line and automatically makes your social media post headline. So that's part of automating your email, your marketing for you. You don't have to do it alone. Make sure you're using your resources. So you don't always have to stick to your own content. One of the biggest misconceptions about creating content for an email campaign is that you're responsible for writing every single post or email. There are many resources you can use to find content that your audience will find valuable. So, for example, you can use interviews or testimonials, like from a staff member, or you have like a satisfied customer. You can use social media like Google Alerts, YouTube, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn. There's always something that someone else posts that maybe your audience will find useful. You can have special guests, like I guess me being in marketing, I might want to have somebody who's an authority on how to read analytics, or how to, what the best subject lines are, whatever, just something that's relevant to whoever your audience is. Okay. And then also, if you're in a particular industry, you can provide industry news. So, if you're sharing something that's going on in your industry, your audience knows you don't have to, you don't have to write every piece of content that comes out of your industry, and that you're just sharing. And then also, people are always interested in survey results. 4 out of 5 people, I don't know, what can I say? 4 out of 5 people love their dogs, but 10 out of or 5 out of 10 people like their cats more. I don't know, something like that would be relevant to your readers. And then whatever content you share, wherever you decide to share it, it's really important that you keep your brand consistent, because brand recognition is really important. So if you pick a certain color to assimilate with your brand, you want to make sure that you keep that same color consistent across all your media channels. So it just, gives people confidence when they see your brand, that you're kind of a stable brand and that you're not changing every other day. I had a customer who redid their website, and it just about killed their business. And it's not that they just redid their website, they changed the name of their business, and that changed a lot for their customers. So you got to be really careful and stay consistent with your brand. Don't be changing up your business because you see somebody else's business and they have a better logo or they have a better website. You don't want to confuse your potential clients by changing too much. So you also want to make your messaging engaging with visuals. So there's a study out there that video increases click-through rates by 300%. So you can put some things on in your messaging, like a product demo or customer testimonials or promotional, something user-generated. People love reality TV, so the more you use your real clients or your real customers is a great endorsement for you. So you want to make sure that you try to share that with your audience. So with Constant Contact, you have the ability to just pop an image in there or a video and make it clickable. So it's just a really convenient way to share a visual content in a different way with people. So you want to remember that when you send out an email, that you only keep it to 3 or fewer images, and that you make your images clickable, and that if you have a video, it's under 90 seconds. Because you know people have short attention spans. I was reading something about the fact that people have 9-second attention span, and a goldfish has an 8-second attention span. So we have really short attention spans if we're competing with a goldfish. And then another thing we want to remember is that whatever we do has to be mobile friendly. So prior to the rise of mobile and mobile communication, email started to take on an almost website-like feel with multiple columns and navigation elements, and similar to what you would find on a website. But mobile communications driving content to be more focused, and then you're also looking at a lot smaller space. So you can't offer too much in an email these days. It has to be short, sweet, to the point. Another thing you need to remember is to use a font that is easy to read. So that's why the fonts that are available to you within the email marketing program are ones that are recognized as being easy to read. And you want to use something that's at least 11 points for the body text and then 22 points for headlines. So when someone looks at that little phone screen, they'll be able to read what you wrote. And then use images carefully. You want to make sure that that you're creating a connection with an image, but that if you don't carefully consider how you're going to use images, you might end up with some unintended consequences that lead it best to someone not reading your email. So here's some things to keep in mind. Excuse me. Some mobile email clients may not display images by default, so be sure that you're using what's called alt text, or that the text appears if the image doesn't, and then at least people know what's there. So nobody wants to look at an email and an image doesn't appear. It just shows as a big white box, and you have no idea what it says. So if that happens, you're going to lose interest of the person right away. They're not going to scroll down and look at what else is in that email. So great images shouldn't push the call to action all the way to the bottom of the message, making it less likely that the reader will actually click through. And then the position and size of the image matters. You may need to resize some images as you build your email. So a lot of email marketing tools have simple, built-in image editing capabilities. But before you send any message out to your customers, you need to test the email by sending it to yourself as a really beneficial feature when you're creating email and Constant Contact. I can't tell you how many times I kind of get in a hurry and maybe I make a misspelling or a link, a link doesn't click, and so that's a bad thing to do in an email. You want to always send the email to yourself, and even better, if you have someone in your office or your spouse or someone else who can look at the email, who can tell you if they see anything, any typos or anything like that. There is a spell check within the program, but it's really good to have someone else look at you and give you their 2 cents. That way, you catch something before you push the send button. I apologize to you guys. I have a cold, so I'm trying really hard to just hang in there. But sometimes, the cold gets the better of you. So I apologize in advance for having a little cough and a sniffle. Okay. So in order to make your messaging mobile, you want to avoid multiple columns. So you want to have what's called like the infinite scroll. So that's a single column message. And then you want to make sure that you use larger font size and that you use, less images. Less is more when it comes to mobile marketing. Okay. And so there's also a really good feature on with Constant Contact that you can look at the different ways, like if it's on a desktop or an iPad or a cell phone, it gives you that ability to look at your message in all 3 mediums so that you can see how it looks. So the next thing we're going to talk about is choosing the right message. We've done a lot of the hard part, believe it or not. And so now we know what we're after. We now know that we're going to ask what we're going to ask our audience. So now it's time to promote the message. So now it's time to promote. You've done the 80%. You've done all those things that are the relationship building and the nurturing part of messaging. So now that you've primed your audience with valuable content, they're going to be more open to responding to your promotion. And the fact that you have 20% of your marketing to encourage your audience to take action, we need to make sure that it's really impactful in terms of helping us reach our goals. So how do we do that? Maybe your number one objective is to drive more revenue or donations. So how do we actually get from this pretty goal in our workbook to putting money in the bank? We use calls to action. And there's a link between asking for what you want and getting it. And they're the lifeline of success, especially in email marketing. So has everyone ever heard the phrase call to action or CTA? And does anyone know what that means? So a call to action is actually a specific action your customers or members will take in order to help you reach your goal. So many times you're asking readers just to click to visit an important page that relates to your goal. So you want to warm your audience up to the idea of a professional looking call to action. And a call to action can be as simple as plain text, but is that as effective? Gain credibility with your audience by sharing what you know to be more effective in reaching their goals. So unfortunately, we can't force anyone to take action, but there are certain things we can do to make that action more likely. So for example, a company called Create Debate was able to increase clicks in their email by making it look like a button instead of a standard text by 45%. So that's exponential compared to the average click-through rate, anywhere from 5 to 10%, depending on most industries. So when you choose your template, you'll be able to add and move buttons to go exactly where you need them. So let your audience decide for themselves how impactful this stat from the last slide really is. For those who are not already using an email marketing service provider, this is the time to challenge their methods. Ideally, you'll create some doubt about the efficient or efficiency of regular email clients as well as solidify the value of a creative, well-designed call to action. So here's one example of the major impact a button can have on your goal. Notice the difference between a regular email from Outlook, Gmail, or Yahoo on the left and the one you sent through an email service provider like Constant Contact on the right. What did you notice in the difference between these two emails? The email on the right clearly looks more professional, which is ultimately going to get you closer to achieving and surpassing your goal. With regular email on the left, you have a limited number of emails that you can send at one time. You have no formatting control, no cohesive branding, and no way to track and report, who's got your email, who opened it, who looked at something, who clicked on a link. So on the right, by sending your email through Constant Contact, you have beautiful templates, you have customizable, mobile responsive, and easy to use template. You have brand identity recognition, so you can reuse the template over and over and just change the content. And then there's features built into Constant Contact that actually help you match your logo colors and integrate your social media profiles and things like that. So it also provides you with actionable features like clickable images and built-in buttons, and the best of all, it gives you trackable results. So we're going to relieve some anxiety about designing the most effective call to action button by sharing your expertise here. So although you're not directly promoting the use of Constant Contact, it's something that we want to know is got a best practice behind it. So there are some best practices that you may not know about when you're designing a call to action. So for example, you're going to narrow it down to 1 to 2 per email. So one study showed that emails with a single call to action increased clicks by 371%. That's a major difference. And then you're going to use actionable language like visit our website, order online, register by April 1st, request a copy, or download our guide. And then another thing you want to make sure you do is stay above the scroll. If you're asking readers to take action, you need to catch them while they're still paying attention. So does anyone know what above the scroll means? So if you're on your phone, it's the space before you start scrolling down on a page. So how likely are you going to encourage clicks if the call to action appears above this line? And then you want to create clickable buttons. So they're all a great option, but here's an example of the call to action that they used. For everyone in the room, you'll each have a slightly different call to action based on the goal that you've written for your organization. For example, if you want to drive traffic, you might ask people to visit your website. If you're looking to increase sales donations, you maybe want to ask people to, do something, purchase today, schedule an appointment, or even donate. So think back to the goal you just, you're envisioning for your own company, and look at the examples on page 2 of the workbook. If you have your workbook, you'll see some of the pre-written options, and then you can also write your own if you didn't find one that fits. But at different points in the life cycle of your business, your goals may change, and some of these calls to action may be more relevant. So here's where it's very important to focus on the top objective you've chosen for your organization. how many of you considered where your call to action would take your readers when they click? So, where do you intend to drive your readers? The more direct path you can provide your readers, the more likely you are to accomplish your goal. So, I call it the frictionless goal. So, whatever it is, you want to make it easy for them to do. So, when you're just designing your call to action, how do you write a call to action that's direct as possible? Constant Contact has tools that allow you to drive your audience exactly where you need them to be. And let me share a couple of examples with you. So last year I met Hearts and Tails Animal Rescue, and they desperately needed volunteers. So they had been sending emails to their subscribers where people would click the call to action and be taken to their website where they had to find the link to download a PDF form. And then the volunteers filled it out and mailed it or emailed it back as an attachment. But Hearts and Tails then needed to manually input all of the volunteer information into their database, which took a huge amount of manpower. So, and plus they had no idea how many volunteers they were missing out on because they started the process and never finished it. So this simple change allowed Hearts and Tails to retain more volunteers by simplifying the application process, not to mention the time they saved by not having to manually enter the volunteer data. They gained 11 new volunteers last year, which is one more than their goal. So you can see that making it frictionless, making it easy to do, is the way to go about it. And so you can see here that they clicked on the call to action link, and it took them to a form instead of a PDF that downloaded. So in this particular email example, whoever's sending this out is announcing a winter gala. So when you click the call to action, it brings you directly to a form that they can fill out in order to reserve a table. So I spent some time working with the Westin Hotel, and they run an annual gala event, and they were sending out email invitations instructing people to RSVP via email, and their registration limit was 500 people. So as you might imagine, they could not keep up with things, and it got messy. And registrants didn't quite know what information to reply with and how to pay for the event. And then employees spent hours and hours speaking with customers, reading the reply emails to register, tracking all of their registrations in their Excel spreadsheet, and then tracking and completing payments with a separate processing tool. So that is a huge laborious task. That is definitely not the route you want to go. That's not frictionless, and it creates a lot of extra work for you. So if you run events, then you're going to want a way for people to register with one click, pay with the same click, get directions with the same click on where they're going, and then add it to their calendar. It just doesn't get any better than that. I just did a conference, and never had done the conference before, and I signed up 100 people, and all of these 100 people pretty much signed themselves up and paid me, and it was just a wonderful success. We had our event software at the check-in table, and we just checked people in if they showed up. So when you have a coupon or you run a deal for your business, where does that go? How does that work? And then what kind of struggles have you experienced when sending coupons? Here's another business I met a few years ago, and they were a boutique. And for years, they've been offering coupons in magazines and newspapers in order to drive more sales. And the coupons weren't going so well. So it was an expensive thing for them to do. And, you know, they got little back in return. And they were targeting thousands of people in their local area. And they couldn't keep track of how many coupons were still floating around. So part of specifying their goal was really about who they were offering the coupon to. And by offering it to everyone all the time, they were cheapening their promotion. So a better strategy was to utilize their existing email subscribers who had recently engaged with their messages. And then I suggested an online coupon to reward regular customers and incentivize them to promote the coupon using social media. And that increased their reach with qualified new customers. So it was a win-win. And then you can do this. We also have the ability to embed like a QR code, a quick response code, and that just gives people the opportunity to scan a code. But I personally am not a big fan of the QR code. It's something that, you know, if you want to use it, it's something that's available to you. But you know, it's just another option. So one of the last things we're going to talk about is how to measure whether what you're doing is working. And so our little friend here is going to help us with the measuring tape. And how many of you have heard the phrase, if you're not measuring, you're not marketing? That's kind of like what I said in the beginning. But it really could not be more true. Reports are going to help you determine if you met your goals. And then also, you might want to be able to know things like who opened your email, who clicked on a link, you know, who registered for your events, who completed a form, and then who downloaded a coupon. So it's really important to making sure your customers are getting the right things to click on. So depending on your goal, you might use reports like the ones I just suggested about opening your emails, clicking on your call to action, but you can get all this in a report. And, you know, if you have more than 100 people opening emails, it's really useful to know who those potential customers are. So we want to look at some of the results that businesses have used to measure their success. So Hearts and Tails used a form to increase their number of volunteers by driving readers directly to the online form, and then Constant Contact automatically recorded all submissions and all the details for interested volunteers. And then they can compare that at the end result directly to their goal to determine whether or not they were successful. So they wanted 10 volunteers, they got 11, they were successful. The Westin Downtown automated their event RSVP process in an effort to save time and increase event registrants, and Constant Contact can do that for you. The boutique on Main Street hope to increase their sales by offering a trackable coupon, which allowed them to track how many coupons were redeemed and shared. So, you know, you think of these things like, oh, you know, this is something that I'm going to spend a little bit of money on, but when you think of what you really are getting is the ability to generate revenue, the ability to automate stuff, and the ability to, you know, to have less people in the mix. So, you know, it really just has to make sense. So regardless of your end goal, you know, we've established that email is one of the most effective ways to promote your call to action. Not only because of the 90% of people you can reach in the inbox, but also because the feedback you'll receive as a sender. So by using email, you'll be able to measure how many people are viewing your message and how many people are engaging with your call to action. It's kind of genius. Whenever I work with a client, I always make sure that whenever we send an email out, that I send them a report that says, these are the people that got your email. These are the people that opened your email. These are the people that clicked on something. Because you don't want to send emails out over and over and over and not know if what you're doing is working. So the opens metric is just really invaluable, and it helps you achieve your goals, because if you're not getting your audience to open your message, they'll never have a chance to reach your call to action. So it's really important in creating great subject lines that get people to incite people to open your email, and then you want to be able to evaluate when you send your email. So with Constant Contact, a lot of times it tells me, you want to send your emails at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, because my clients are all business-to-business clients. They're the ones that get up at 4 and go to the gym. I, on the other hand, am going ahead the night before and scheduling that email for the 4 o'clock in the morning people, because I am not a 4 o'clock in the morning people. But your subject line is one of the most important factors that affects your open rate. And you know that, and we talked about that. So, we want to they have this thing called A/B testing, where you try an email with this subject line, and maybe, 10 people opened it, and then you try the same email with a different subject line, and maybe 100 people opened it. So you definitely know which one of those subject lines is going to get people to open your email, and that's what you want to do more of. And then you want to make sure that your subject line is easily recognizable, and that your audience should know who the email is coming from. So in most cases, you want it to include your company name. So, and then the industry average for this metric can range anywhere from 8% all the way to 28%. So remember that these are only averages, and that they differ for industries. But if your metrics are within this range, you're on track. So if you are sending out emails, you want to make sure that you're getting at least an 8% open rate. My open rates are usually in the 20s, so you definitely know that something good is happening if that's what you're getting good open rates. You also want to know your click-through rate, so you'll know whether your email was engaging. So if somebody clicks on a button, like a read more button, you put a teaser paragraph in, and then you put read more, and you drive them to your website, that's a really good way to get people to go to your website. You want to make sure that your link stands out. And then ideally, we suggest using a button with a contrasting color to make it really pop. So I'm sure most of you have received a few emails that you didn't feel like they applied to you. So what did you do with those emails? Let me guess. You probably just threw them in the trash. So we talked about a lot. We talked about, how to market your business online, and setting goals, and then why we set those goals. You want to keep your doors open. We want to have this many sales. We want to make sure that, whatever you're doing for your business is paying the bills at the very minimum. We want to make sure that we're choosing the right messages, picking the right platforms, and then we're building relationships through the content we put out there. And you want to be able to write calls to action that get people to do something that you want them to do. And then we want to be able to measure success. So all of those things are kind of, in a nutshell, what we're going to do to get your email marketing working for you and not something else that you have to do on your daily schedule. Definitely going to save you some time. And you can get started today. If you have a Constant Contact account already, a lot of people have not spent enough time creating goals for yourself. So, you can use the worksheet that I sent you to write out your goals and to define a call to action, and then learn how to measure your results. And then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again, until you feel like you've got into a place in people's inboxes where you're getting a good open rate, people are engaging with your emails, and you're starting to see results. You're getting foot traffic in your store, you're getting visitors to your website. All those things are important, and a lot of us, without giant marketing budgets, have to do a lot of this stuff ourselves. So it's really important to just take baby steps and learn how to do it. Those worksheets that I sent out are really a good way to get started. At least it just gives you a step-by-step on what you need to do to get it going for yourself. And then, of course, I'm partial to Constant Contact. A lot of people are like, who's Constant Contact? And they're actually they're not just an email service provider anymore. They are a marketing suite of tools. Besides email, they do a lot of different things. You can, create events and manage events and, send coupons out, and just so many different things you can do more than email marketing. As a small business, and I was that small business 4 years ago, I started my business, and at the same time, I subscribed to Constant Contact, and I thought, this is such a great program. I don't know why it's, a lot of the things that they offer to people are free. Once you sign up for an account, they have different marketing resources that you can learn from. It's so valuable to a small business to not try everything. You don't have that kind of time, you don't have that kind of budget. So to me, it's one of the best things that I ever did for my business, was to use the tools and use them over time and watch them get results for my business. So you might be sending email updates and running your own special offers or deals, or getting online feedback, or running an online survey. But no matter what you're trying to achieve, you're going to have the tools and the knowledge and the experts to help you get there. I'm going to help you get there. They have a toll-free number that you can call and get help anytime during business hours. I had one new Constant Contact subscriber tell me that they stayed on the phone for 2 hours with their Constant Contact 800 service, helping them walk through something, and I thought that was pretty incredible. I mean, to me, that's worth a lot. Anybody that's that invested in the success of my business is worth taking a look at. So if you have a Constant Contact account with me and you're on the call tonight, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for staying engaged and continuing to learn how to promote your brand. It is not easy to be a small business. It is not easy to maybe have a day job and be trying to build your dream at night. I get it. I'm that same person. I'm learning the ropes with you guys. I might be a little bit more ahead of it, a curve, because I've been doing it for a little bit longer, but I'm always here for you. If you need help, please email me. You can also tweet to me at InnovateSocialM. My Facebook page is Innovate Social Media. And if you don't have a Constant Contact account, we're having a $5 special. I'm not sure, what executive at Constant Contact had this idea, but they have never done it before. And for 3 months, you can get Constant Contact for $5. So you can get email marketing, you can do some email automation, you can learn some small business marketing, set goals for yourself, have someone helping you that is just a phone call away, and then have me. If you want to go to that link there, constantcontact.com/event-Cotto, my last name, Cotto. I will be happy to have you sign up with me, and along with the $5, I'll help you upload your first list of data of contacts. I'll help you design your template, your co-branded template that looks like your website. If you don't have a website, we'll just fake it till we make it, and you can design something, and I'll help you do it. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you have any questions that you want to address directly, you can email me at info@innovatesocialmedia.com, and I promise to answer them by tomorrow. So I want to thank you for joining me tonight, and tell you best wishes for your business, and hopefully you'll have a great fourth quarter, and I look forward to joining you in the new year. Have a great night. Bye-bye.